chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches.
Nestle is one of the biggest food companies in the world. From KitKat chocolates to Maggi noodles, bottled water to baby food, their products are everywhere. Almost every home has something made by Nestle, but behind the tasty snacks and happy advertisements, there's a hidden story. A story of inventions, global success, and some dark secrets that most people never hear about. In this video, we'll explore how Nestle became a global food giant and the shocking things they've been hiding along the way.
The world's biggest food company, Nestle.
The Nestle company.
Nestle.
Nestle collects millions of gallons a year from springs in Southern California.
Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water?
The Nestle story begins over 150 years ago, way back in 1866. Two American brothers, Charles and George Page, had a brilliant idea. They used fresh Swiss milk to make Europe's first ever condensed milk, which lasted longer than fresh milk and was super helpful for families. Their company was called the Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company, and they sold the milk under the famous Milkmaid brand. Just a year later, in 1867, a German pharmacist named Henry Nestle made another big breakthrough. He created a special food for babies who couldn't be breastfed. It was called farine lactée, which means flour with milk. This saved many infants' lives during a time when child death rates were high. Henri even designed the famous Nestlé logo, a little bird sitting in a nest. For years, Nestlé and Anglo-Swiss were fierce competitors. Both wanted to be the top brand for milk products, but by 1905, they finally decided to merge, creating what we now know as the Nestle Group. Nestle takes over the world. After that, Nestle didn't slow down. They started selling chocolate, coffee, and so much more. They grew into one of the biggest food companies on earth. From baby food to bottled water, cereals to pet food, Nestle products are everywhere, in almost every country. In fact, chances are you have at least one Nestle product in your home right now. But the bigger they grew, the more problems started to appear.
Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water? Well, as I understand what you say is where there's impure water, it should not be used.
Yes.
Where the people are so poor that they're not going to realistically be able to continue to purchase that, and which is going to mean that they're going to dilute it to a point.
While Nestlé's products became household favorites, the company's business practices have caused global controversies for decades. It all started back in the 1970s when Nestlé was accused of doing something shocking: pushing mothers in poor countries to use baby formula instead of breastfeeding. They gave out free samples, dressed salespeople as nurses, and made it seem like formula was better than natural breastfeeding. But many families couldn't afford to keep buying the formula, leading to serious health problems for babies. This sparked huge protests and boycotts. And while Nestlé promised to change, whistleblowers later revealed similar things happening in places like Pakistan, even in the 1990s. But sadly, that's just the beginning. Everyone loves chocolate, right? But did you know that much of the cocoa used to make chocolate comes from farms in West Africa, where thousands of children are forced to work? Reports have shown that kids as young as 12 are involved in dangerous work harvesting cocoa beans, the main ingredient in chocolate. Some are even trafficked from other countries and forced to work like slaves. Despite promises to fix this, Nestlé admitted as recently as 2019 that they still couldn't guarantee their chocolate was free from child labor.
All Nestle chocolate will contribute to eliminating child labor and improving the lives of cocoa farmers. This is our mission.
It's not just chocolate. Nestlé has faced scandals in all sorts of products, even in things made for babies. In 2008, a terrifying incident happened in China. 6 infants died and hundreds more were hospitalized after drinking milk products contaminated with a harmful chemical called melamine. Even though Nestlé claimed their products were safe, tests showed traces of melamine in their baby milk powders. The news shocked parents everywhere, raising fears about food safety. But Nestlé didn't stop selling in China. Instead, they launched the Nestlé Food Safety Institute to help improve food standards in the country. It sounds good, but for many, the damage was already done, and that wasn't the only time Nestlé products made headlines for the wrong reasons. In 2015, their popular Cerelac baby food was found infested with weevils and fungus. Imagine opening food for your little one and finding bugs inside. Horrifying, right? But perhaps the most famous Nestlé food scandal was all about noodles. If you live in India, you probably know about Maggi noodles. They're tasty, quick to make, and super popular. But in 2015, food inspectors discovered something shocking. Some packs of Maggi noodles contained up to 17 times more lead than the safe limit. Lead is a dangerous metal that can harm your body, especially for children. The news caused a massive public outcry. Maggi noodles were banned across India for months. Even some African countries stopped selling them. Nestlé worked hard to fix the issue. By the end of 2015, Maggi noodles were back on shelves with a huge marketing campaign to regain trust. But the memory of the lead scare still lingers for many people. But it's not just food. Nestlé's bottled water business is one of their biggest moneymakers, and also one of the most controversial. The company owns famous water brands like Pure Life and Arrowhead, but critics say Nestlé's thirst for profit is draining precious water from places that need it most. For example, in California, Nestlé pumped millions of gallons of water from drought-stricken areas for pennies, while residents face strict water restrictions. In Oregon, Nestlé tried to strike a deal to bottle spring water from a public source, sparking huge protests. Local communities fought back, saying water shouldn't be treated like a product to be sold. It's a human right. And in Michigan, Nestlé paid just $200 a year to pump huge amounts of water, while nearby communities struggled with water problems. People called it a classic case of David versus Goliath. Regular folks standing up to a giant corporation. Water is life, but Nestlé has often been accused of treating it like a business opportunity, not a basic human need. The company's former CEO once even suggested water shouldn't automatically be considered a human right, a statement that caused global outrage. He later tried to clarify, saying governments should provide basic water to people, but many critics weren't convinced. In 2021, after years of complaints, California finally ordered Nestlé to stop unauthorized water extractions from the San Bernardino forest. But for many activists, the fight for water rights continues. It's not just people who have suffered because of Nestlé's business. Sadly, animals have too. Back in 2018, Nestlé made a big promise. They said they would improve how chickens are treated on the farms they buy from. They called it the Better Chicken Commitment, saying no more tiny cages, no more cruel conditions. But years later, not much has changed. Reports show that only 74% of the eggs Nestlé uses now come from cage-free sources. And that number is even lower than before. For a company that makes billions of dollars every year, people expected more. Animal rights groups say Nestlé has been too slow to keep their promises, and that leaves many wondering, if they can't even follow through on basic animal welfare, what else are they hiding? Secret deals and price scandals. It doesn't stop there. Nestlé has also been accused of shady deals when it comes to prices, especially with chocolate. In Canada, investigators found that Nestlé, along with other big chocolate companies, secretly met to fix chocolate prices. They allegedly passed notes, made quiet deals, and worked together to keep prices high, all behind closed doors. Nestlé eventually paid $9 million to settle the case, but without admitting they did anything wrong. Still, the public's trust was shaken. In Spain, Nestlé got caught again. This time they worked with other dairy companies to form a cartel, basically a secret group, to avoid paying farmers fair prices for milk. Once again, profits came first and hardworking people suffered. Nestlé's story is full of both success and scandals. On one hand, they've created products that have fed millions of people, saved babies' lives, and made snacks that people love all over the world. From KitKats to Maggi noodles, Nescafé to bottled water. Their products are everywhere, but the other side of the story isn't so sweet. For years, Nestlé has been caught in controversy after controversy. Unsafe baby foods, animal cruelty, price fixing, child labor on cocoa farms, and even exploiting poor countries for water. The list goes on. Some people say it's impossible to avoid Nestlé completely because they own so many brands, but others believe that knowing the truth gives us the power to demand change. After all, companies only change when people speak up and hold them accountable. So So what do you think? Should we keep trusting Nestlé? Or is it time for the company to clean up its act? If this video opened your eyes, hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be bringing you more hidden stories the big companies would rather you never hear. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay smart, and never stop asking what's really going on behind the scenes.